Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Beanie. Welcome back to another video. Guys, I got the reason I haven't been doing anything this past weekend is I had a tooth pulled on Friday, and I've been a little bit out of it. I've been in a lot of pain, and it kind of hurts to talk. It still kind of hurts to talk today, but it feels a little bit better. So I decided to make this video that's long overdue, where I review all the recent diamonds that have come out. Really, all the recent players. I'm going to do all of them, even the gold ones that have come out recently. So I'm a little bit behind on these, so I felt like I needed to get this done today. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get into the vid. Alright, starting out with what I can imagine is probably going to be the most polarizing review that I do on this player, Ichiro Suzuki, the 93 overall Ichiro Suzuki. This is the type of player that my FAG formula really, it's really difficult for it to grade, because he plays right field, and right field typically favors a little bit more power and arm strength and stuff, but the fact that power is the only thing that he's lacking makes it really easy to for him to make up for that lack of power, because he's good at everything else. I mean, he's elite at everything else. I mean, he has elite contact with elite vision. He's an elite fielder with elite speed. Literally, the only thing that he's lacking is power. So, whenever I put that into the formula, it usually comes out with pretty good grades. But a lot of people criticize me for that because of how important power is. But this is my justification for it. The fact that he doesn't have a lot of power, yes, it is going to be a hindrance for you at the plate. But the fact that you're sacrificing that power, you're gaining a really big PCI, good contact, and so I know that that doesn't mean a ton just yet this year. I think that'll change in the future, but I do understand that. But if you can get this guy on base with 90+ speed, he's going to be a problem. And an outfield defense is super important this year, and this guy is going to be the best of the best out in the field. So I think what you gain is worth what you give up, in terms of like whether or not he's going to be an above average player. I know a lot of people might be thinking like, what, this is crazy. Obviously Ichiro is a great player, but if you look at this card and then you compare it to a card like the Omar Vizquel or the Ozzie Smith, there really isn't that much of a difference between these cards other than this Ichiro plays the outfield. And I do think that that makes a difference, the fact that he plays the outfield, because I'm really big into outfield defense and having guys that can cover as much ground as possible. I think it's a little bit more important. So yeah, I'm really high on this card for the most part, and I ended up giving him a FAG of a 7.8. I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback on that, but I feel like a 7.8 is about right, given the fact that he's elite everywhere except for power. Next up, we have another player that is held back a good bit by his power, and that is the 92 overall Wade Boggs. And the difference between this card and the Ichiro is that this card doesn't have the elite tools to make up for the lack of power, but he's also not as deficient in power as that Ichiro is. 65, 62 power, while it's not great, it is enough for him to be competent at the plate. He's not going to be a complete dud for you, especially with that 122 contact versus righties and 110 vision. He's going to be fine up there. He's just not going to be... you're probably, you know, if you had to pick between this guy and, I don't know, who's a big-time power third baseman, I can't really think right now, but a guy that has, like, you know, Joey Gallo or somebody like that. Right now, Joey Gallo is probably going to play a little bit better for you. That doesn't mean that this guy is a dud. On defense, he's not anything to write home about. He's not bad. He's not great. He's just going to be solid over there for you, nothing more, nothing less. He also doesn't have a ton of speed, so really what you're looking at is an average player that just happens to have elite contact. That does end up making for an above average player, so I ended up giving him a FAG of a 6.6. And yeah, kind of another guy that's just kind of a tough player to grade. SDS has been doing this lately. Like most of the flashbacks, or at least position player flashbacks they've come out with the past few, like the past week, they've all been like these high contact, medium power or low power type of guys that don't have as much value as you really want out of these like big time diamond cards, you know. So yeah, Wade Boggs, a 6.6 overall. Okay, coming up next is another one of those guys that has kind of medium power with great contact that a lot of people are going to be kind of turned off of because, you know, he's not a big power guy. SDS has been releasing just a ton of these guys lately. But this Darren Erstad does do a better job with that Wade Boggs of making up for it with his other tools. He's kind of somewhere in between Ichiro and the Boggs. This guy has, once again, elite contact and medium power. A little bit worse than Boggs, but not enough to where you'll probably notice a significant difference. His fielding for left field is elite. He has great arm strength for left field, 79. That's really solid for left field. And good fielding and reaction go along with it, and he's also not a dud on the base paths. This guy is kind of a 5-tool guy whose power may lag behind just a little bit. Overall, I really like this card. I think he has a lot to offer, and because of that, I ended up giving him score somewhere kind of in between Boggs and Ichiro, and I ended up giving him a fag of 7.1. Okay, I really like this card. The 91 overall Greg Holland. We need some good relievers in this game. And this 91 Greg Holland is going to be one of the best in the game. He has fantastic hit and K per 9. Not tippy top elite. Like, there are some guys who have better that hit that 125 threshold or close to it for both. But you can't sneeze at 104 or 115. His walk per 9 is solid enough. For a reliever, you're not going to have many problems with like his control or anything like that. And you know, his stuff is great. Like, he throws his fastball hard. He has good break on a slider, a really good splitter. I remember back in the day, his splitter used to be one of the nastiest pitches in MLB The Show. But yeah, this card is fantastic. The only like knock that I guess I could throw at him is I kind of wish that he had a few more pitches, but he kind of hits all the marks with the four-seam slider, splitter. It would just be kind of nice if he had like a, I don't know, like a sinker or a curveball or a cutter or something to go along with it. But he does fine with what he's got. So for those reasons, I ended up giving him a fag of an 8.0. Okay, now moving on to the recent Player of the Month cards. First, we're going to start out with the Ultimate Player of the Month reward, and that is the 91 overall Didi Gregorius. This card's a monster, y'all. For a shortstop, it doesn't get a whole lot better than this. I mean, 93-87 versus righties. Well, outside of the Immortals, it doesn't get any better than this. 93-87 versus righties, 86-69 versus lefties. Good vision. He's a solid hitter all the way across the board. The only thing that you might run into a little bit of trouble with is that power versus lefties, but still 69, that's fine. Nothing really to worry about there. He's going to be a great hitter. Defensively, he's not going to be unbelievable for you, but he's going to be fine. Might run into some issues with the arm strength. 73, that's about average, I guess, for a shortstop. Kind of wish it was a little bit stronger. But the good news is that he does have a secondary at second base. If you want to throw him there, I'm sure he would be probably elite for you at second base defensively. Not elite, that's the wrong word for it. Well above average at second base, and at shortstop he's just going to be a little bit above average, if you get what I'm saying. Speed-wise, he does have speed, and he will be able to stretch out a few doubles and triples and stuff like that, but you probably don't want to steal with him. That's 26 stealing. That's not that great. He's not going to be getting great jumps on anything. That 71 speed really isn't enough to make up for it. So on the base pass, he's going to be okay, but not great. Probably not a big steal threat. Overall, though, just a great overall player. And, yeah, I ended up giving him a fag of an 8.3. Next up, Josh frickin' Hader. Everybody's favorite lefty reliever. Everybody's saying that he's going to be the new Chapman or some shit like that. I don't know if we'll go that far, but this card's really solid, man. He's got fantastic per 9s, borderline elite per 9s. His control is not great. I mean, that could be a little bit better, but I'm sure you'll be fine with that. His pitch selection is right on point with Chapman's, but the big reason I don't think that this guy is going to be Chapman right off the bat is because of that four-seam velo. 95, there's a big difference between 95 and 100, especially in like last year's game and the year before that. This year it might not be as noticeable, but 95 isn't going to blow it by everybody. Like Chapman used to blow it by everybody. This guy is just gonna, you know, he's gonna blow it by a few people, but not everybody. But the good news with this hater card is that he does have really good secondary stuff. He has a solid changeup, only a 9-mile-per-hour delta, but it's got good movement on it. It's a deceptive pitch. He throws it from a unique arm slot, so good changeup to go along with the 95 fastball, and then a devastating 81-mile-per-hour slider to go along with it. That's just, it eats up lefty hitters. So Josh Hader, we need more lefty relievers in the game, and I think that this is going to be one of the better ones for a while, and I ended up giving him a fag of 7.8. Next up, Patrick Corbin. This is just kind of a meh pitcher. I mean, he's good. He's a good pitcher. He has solid per nines, like about average per nines for what we look for in a starting pitcher. He is a lefty, so that's a bonus. He has a fantastic slider that'll really help against lefties. I don't know about against righties, but against lefties, that's going to be a really good pitch. The only thing that you might have to worry about with this card is his fastball speed. He only throws up to like 93, 94. That might not be hard enough to get the job done, but we know that speed isn't as important this year as it has been in years past. So as long as he can get good movement on that 4-seam and 2-seam and really miss your opponent's PCI, he'll probably be fine. And he has that big, slow 73-mile-an-hour curveball to go with it. That's a nice pitch to have to complement everything else. So overall, just a solid above average pitcher. But you know, it remains to be seen how good he will play in game. But I think he'll be well above average, and I ended up giving him a fag of a 7.3. Okay, next up is the 86 overall Ozzie Albies, and it's going to be really difficult for me to fight my bias on this one because you guys know me, I love me some Ozzie Albies, and he was great in April, and this card is actually a pretty good reflection of how he was. I think his defense is ultimately going to end up being a lot better than what they have in the game right now, but right now that's probably about right. He wasn't great in the first month defensively, but offensively he was a monster. This card is really solid offensively, but he does have those reverse splits. You know, he's a beast versus lefties, and he's just okay versus righties. That, you know, that could be kind of an issue. He kind of reminds me of the Dale Murphy, but a switch hitter version, so you know, that's kind of cool, but he does have speed to go along with that good offense too, so that, I mean, he could be kind of that dual threat type of guy that can hit for power and speed. So I like this card. I don't think it's going to be the best second baseman in the game or anything like that. I don't think it's really worth its price right now. I wouldn't go out and buy it despite the fact that I love Ozzie, but I do think it's solid, and I ended up giving him a fag of a 7.4. Okay, now we've entered the segment where I end up giving a long string of players the same exact grade. And starting off, we have Sean Manaea, and this is just kind of a meh pitcher. He has his K per 9 is kind of lagging behind. He has solid hit per 9, solid control. His stuff really isn't all that great. He only throws 92. Does have some good secondary offerings with a changeup and the slider, but overall I'm just not that impressed with this card, and I ended up giving him a fag of a 6.3. I do think he'll be a little bit above average, but not by much. Next up is his teammate Jed Lowry, and I kind of feel the same way about this card. It's good, it's okay, it's solid, but it just doesn't excite me that much. Now, I actually do have some in-game time with this card, and it really hasn't played all that well for me. I think it's hitting like 230 or something like that. He hasn't been all that great. There's just something about him that's not awesome. He does have good power versus righties and good contact versus both sides. Lags behind a little bit versus lefties in the power department, so that could become an issue. Fielding wise, he's not going to be all that great. He doesn't have a ton of range. He doesn't have a strong arm. He's not all that reliable, but he's not terrible. He's just a little bit below average. And then on the speed front, he's not really going to provide you anything on the speed front either. This is kind of a pure offensive play. Against righties, he's going to be probably pretty solid, and then against lefties, you might have some work to do with that power. So because of that, I ended up giving him a fag of, wait for it, 6.3. Next up is the right fielder version of Shohei Ohtani. And this is one where his position actually ends up helping him out a little bit, because right fielders favor power and arm strength pretty heavily in my formula, but it doesn't help him out enough to be a great player. He has extreme reverse or platoon splits. He does not hit lefties well at all. Hits righties very well though. 81, 88, that's very solid. He doesn't have great vision though. He's going to strike out occasionally. Defensively, he has a big time arm that will be a big help out in right field, but he's not the rangiest guy in the world. He's not going to get to everything. They kind of did him a little dirty on his speed. I think Shohei is a little bit faster than this in real life than 69 speed, but it is what it is. I can only grade this card for what it is, and even though I think Shohei is better than this, I ended up giving him a fag of a 6.3. So yeah, he's okay. He's above average, but not that great. Last but not least is the 80 overall Christian Villanueva, and this is a guy that just kind of came out of nowhere. I'd never even heard of this guy, but he's been just killing it for the Padres. He hit .338 with 8 home runs in April. That's incredible, man. But he's your classic just reverse platoon split guy, or not reverse, but platoon split guy. He murders left-handed pitching, and he's just like kind of average versus righties. Not great, not terrible. Defensively, he's not great, not terrible. And speed-wise, he's pretty terrible. So that's kind of what you're getting with this card. I don't think he's anything more than a bench player that you can maybe platoon with a left-handed bat or something like that at first base or at third base. Other than that, I don't really see that many uses for this card, and I mean, he's close to average, I guess. I guess he's slightly above average just because he hits righties okay too. If he were just a dud versus righties, he would be well below average, but the fact that he hits them okay too probably means he's right at average or slightly above, so I ended up giving him a fag of a 6.1. Alright guys, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know if I got any of these wrong, if you think I should change anything, and yeah, I love you guys. I will see y'all later, but until then, peace.